What I've got for you today is a best of 5 series that's the finals of the Kung Fu Cup. It's time for a Terran versus Protoss, where in game number 1, we find ourselves on Alcyone. Now, spotting right here in the top right-hand corner, playing with the blue Terran as CVs. You know him, you love him. We have none other than the Gumi God. His opponent in the opposite corner, playing with the red Protoss probes, he goes by the name of ShoWTimE. Of course, one of Europe's best competitors, and also somebody who managed to just barely qualify for the Esports World Cup. Both of these players are, of course, going to be there, so it's going to be fun to see how many more tournaments they will be participating in between right now and I think the middle or so of August. Because I can imagine you really want to start hiding some of your matches. Or if you're, for example, Dark, if you're, for example, Hero, yeah, there's a very good chance they're still going to play in everything anyways, right? That's what they usually do. A lot of players like to hide strategies when there's a massive event coming up. And yeah, then you have players like Dark who seem to just sort of do whatever they like, right? Worst case scenario, Dark finds himself in the finals against an opponent he might be facing in the World Cup. Well, you know what? You just throw a couple of, I don't know, Nidus cheeses to the other side or whatever, right? Like, Dark doesn't really seem to care. But the vast majority of the pro gamers, and I think GuMiho and ShoWTimE are 2 of them, do enjoy hiding their strats to the best of their abilities. Now, I heard that this series is an absolute banger, so shout out to the Chinese StarCraft 2 tournament organizers that sent me these replays. They have been very nice, actually. Like, sometimes there's not a whole lot of games for me to go ahead and cast, especially when there's a premier tournament coming up. A lot of pro gamers, they like to, well, hide as much of their strats as possible. They don't really want to show too much. But, well, usually the Chinese event organizers still can get me some replays, which is pretty amazing. So, shout out to the WTL, SC Boy in general. They have been very, very good for the StarCraft scene over the years. Alrighty, so ShoWTimE going into a good old Stalker for now, chrono boosting that one out. In the meantime, Command Center building on the low ground. It's a double gas opener right here for Gumi, so that does mean he will be able to build quite a few units here in the earlier stages of the game. It's actually pretty sweet how, like, StarCraft 2 is such a global experience these days. Like, it used to be very Blizzard focused for many, many years. Nowadays they're not really involved anymore, but it really is like a collaboration between like 4 different continents. It's actually kind of sick. It's really nice to see that. Yeah, they're so such a global community. I think that's actually really, really cool. Anyways, Blink Stalker opener is what it looks like here for ShoWTimE. Not opting to go for the good old, well, for example, we can go Oracles into Phoenixes. We can go, well, mass Phoenixes, right? Poor little Reaper over here. This guy is bait. This is what we call the bait Reaper. Yeah, he is literally floating on top of a mine. It's a bit dangerous, but sometimes you may be able to snatch up a Stalker because of it. ShoWTimE, though, not a very adventurous player as far as the early game Stalkers go, although he might make a bit of a move out right now. Nah, it's ShoWTimE we're talking about. He's known as the Mauer. We always know that he likes playing defensively, and even though he does throw a bit of a curveball from time to time, I'm fully expecting that this is going to be a very macro-focused start here, and a very macro-focused series for ShoWTimE. My main question is, how many gateways is he going to produce before he builds the 3rd Nexus? You can go 2, 3, or 4. 4 is quite committed. You kind of have to get some sort of damage done. There's gateway number 3 coming up. 3 gateways is probably the safest all-round option that still allows you to go for a relatively early expo. Depends on, yeah, how many corners you want to cut. Considering this is game number 1 in a series, it makes sense to play this at least a little bit cautiously. Could certainly add on another gateway though. Really test the waters on the other side of the map. Widowmine drop. Coming in. Let's see. Skill check from Gumi. Poor little probe, just coming out of the Nexus. It's like, what's up, guys? Immediately died. There's still one Widowmine hiding in that plane on the left. This is obviously one of the downsides for Protoss whenever they do go for a Stalker opener. You're not going to be within range of these units as quickly. Looks like the ultimate bait here did work out, as a single Stalker does go down. Rather than going 3rd Command Center, by the way, Gumi is just adding on more production. Yeah, Third Nexus starts up right here for ShoWTimE. All right, so ShoWTimE indeed trying to play a bit more of a macro-focused game. Here's the second Widow Mine attempt. Nice defense, very lovely defense there by ShoWTimE. It always feels a little bit risky when all of the probes are sent to try and kill a mine. I don't know if I can recommend anybody who's a more casual StarCraft fan to do that, because whenever I would do it, I would probably blow up all my probes. But if you've got there, if you get there on at the correct time, you can certainly defend relatively easily. This is scary attack though from GuMiho. There's really not that many units available yet for the Protoss. Liberator here trying to be a nuisance. Some Stalkers were occupied in the main base. We do have a sentry. Siege Tank's trying to go pretty far forward. There is no Stimpack, no combat shields, no +1. Just a whole bunch of Terran, and you know what? He has to address this. Like, there is no way ShoWTimE can really let this base just go down and do nothing. That Liberator, by the way, now 7 confirmed kills. It is ultimately gone. The Immortal probably wants to try and see if it can get on top of the Siege Tank there, but just the group of Marines is putting in a lot of work. Nexus is running dangerously low, and it's gonna full. Yeah, battery overcharge fires up right now. Obviously, you need to have a Nexus in order to go for the overcharge. Wow, okay. Little bit of miscontrol right there by ShoWTimE, and that immediately means GG. Oceanborn is our second game in this best of 5 series. That first game was an excellent example of what I see a lot of Protoss players complain about. For many, many years now. You don't play a perfect early game, Terran marches across the map, bada bing, bada boom, it's game over. Yeah, it's one of the issues when you do go for the Blink Stalker opener and you don't make a whole lot of additional gateways. If you end up losing any units unnecessarily, like for example to, I don't know, a Widow Mine, right? We saw probably the Liberator may have killed one as well. If you just lose a unit here, a unit there, like just 2 units down, and any of those aggressive pushes from the Terran just become significantly harder to hold. And it's frustrating, but it's the nature of the beast. Twilight Council opener once again here for ShoWTimE. Okay, Insta-Chrono boost on the Blink. I think ShoWTimE is looking at a game like that and he's like, oh man. That's frustrating. Maybe it's kind of annoying that the game is designed like that, but at the same time, I just shouldn't have lost those units unnecessarily. Good reaction, of course, here by the Gumi God, who's going quick triple gas. Okay, when I see GuMiho going quick triple gas, I immediately think battle cruisers. I haven't seen the man play battle cruisers in ages. Starport's finishing up right now. You don't normally go quick triple gas in this matchup. Unless he's got some strange attack in mind here that I... Please make a fusion core. That's a depot. Please make a fusion core. He's instantly saturating it too. Battlecruisers are real expensive though. It's just a Raven. Okay. Alright. Didn't want to get you too excited. Maybe it's Raven into Battlecruiser? No, probably not. No. We're just going for some gas-heavy aggression. Cyclones and Ravens, interesting. Okay, well, Stalker sleeping on the job, and this is rinse and repeat from the previous game, it almost feels like, right? Like, this is also quite costly. Although, that being said, yeah, the battery overcharge is real powerful. I thought that was looking like an absolute disaster for Protoss, but that battery really coming in clutch. That actually was totally fine for ShoWTimE in the end. Hyperflight rotors? Really? Okay. So that's the speed upgrade for the Banshee. That is the reason why GuMiho has decided to go for the third gas. I always kind of feel like this is one of the most undervalued upgrades in the game. They buffed it a couple of times. It's not even really that expensive anymore. It just takes a long time to produce. And obviously by the time that you ever get any speed Banshees out, there's always going to be either, well, Phoenixes or Blink Stalkers, right? Like those are really the only 2 options that Protoss plays in the early game. So it just so happens to be that Banshees kind of suck against both of those, right? So it's really very much so going to be an harassment option here. I would imagine that it's kind of like, maybe like Mutas against Protoss, where you use them to kill workers, but then you fly away again. Anyways, there's an opportunity right now for ShoWTimE. Ooh, nice little grenades. To see if maybe he can leverage his way into an advantage. How many gateways do we have? 3 of them. Okay. With really good micro, I actually think this is a winnable spot right now for ShoWTimE. But we see this go wrong quite terribly, very frequently too. So I can't really blame ShoWTimE if he doesn't commit too hard. Yeah, I think if this was max specs, he would probably double down on the aggression immediately. And there is going to be an aggressive link forward. Raven goes down. We need to kill that Raven. Banshee in the meantime, just barely outside of the vision radius of that Nexus. So not quite spotted yet. Yeah. There's a lot of money here currently in the bank for ShoWTimE. Imagine if he would have had 4 gateways, right? And he was perfect on those warpins. Life would have been good. So here's that speed Banshee. And it doesn't do much. Wow, we're still gonna double down? Really, Gumi? So Gumi is gonna double down by also going for the cloaking field for the Banshees. Yeah, he's gonna keep producing them, I guess. Do you stop at 3? I don't think so, do you? Maybe. I feel like you stop at 0, but... Alright, aggressive link forward here once again. One of the Banshees will be used defensively. Siege tanks are being targeted by the Stalkers. Only 4 SCVs fall. That really isn't the end of the world. Problem here, of course, for Gumi is that ShoWTimE already has a 3rd Nexus fully saturated. So this is a massive advantage right now for the Protoss player. It'll be very difficult for Gumi to really secure a 3rd anytime soon, so he does have a 3rd command center done. But if ShoWTimE decides to park his army over here, I mean, it's a bit of a risk, obviously, then, too, for the Protoss, but you could probably delay that expansion for a while. Maybe ShoWTimE is saying, okay, it's not really worth the risk. I'm just gonna march back home. Yeah, go for a 4th base instead, use my army defensively. It's a very ShoWTimE-esque move. Yeah, he's a reliable Protoss. Yeah. Here go the speed Banshees. Well then. So these are actually very expensive now. Because they have both upgrades. They took a lot of time to produce. Banshees themselves aren't necessarily cheap either. He's gonna try and come in from an angle. Okay, I think he's going to the 3rd. I mean, there is a single photon cannon there, but these guys don't mess around. Currently, the Protoss army is moving. So it takes 2 Banshees to one-shot a probe. No. No. This is such a GuMiho play, though. He's still making Banshees. So to clarify, he does not have a single medevac, because he's been producing Banshees this entire time. He does not have any Vikings, he's got nothing to deal with the Colossi, but he does have a bunch of Banshees that have done very little. I mean, I killed some probes, right? It's fair. I'm a little afraid, though, that much like, for example, Phoenixes or, for example, Mutas, at some point, these Banshees are going to fly into a mineral line, kill everything, and then fly back home. How many times have we seen that with Protoss Phoenixes, right? Like, we see them suddenly uncontested, they kill all of the workers, and then they're still at home to defend as well. Like, these units have a similar potential. It's just that normally the time in the starport, yeah, exactly, it's used to be making medevacs. So, Gumi did do the big switcheroo. Rather than having a tech lab on that structure right now, he's decided to go for a reactor and pump out those medevacs 2 at a time. You don't really need a ton of medevacs. It just means that for the time being, he won't really be able to push much. Other than, I guess, with the Banshees, and there they go. 3rd command center has been secured. That means it's about time for the Ghost Academy. Combat shields on the back of this, and we already have a bunch of High Templar and Archons on the other side of the map. ShoWTimE not really going for Storm or anything along those lines yet. Okay, he's gonna target fire down the pylon directly. The Nexus itself directly? Okay. Where's the Observer? It is quite far away. Nexus does get cancelled though. I mean, there is a certain point where these units are worth it. Yeah. So ShoWTimE now realizes that he needs to go for a reaction against these speed Banshees. This is the speed upgrade for the observers. Usually an upgrade you sort of get at some point. It's kind of like Terran building armor or like high-sec auto tracking, right? It's kind of like a no-brainer at some point in the game, but usually not quite yet. But he realizes that these units can suddenly pop up. Now, moving up that ramp seems like a... I don't... No way, dude. No way. Look at this. Yeah, no. This is the welcoming committee of the Terran. It's like, yes, please. Make yourself at home. Charge into my supply depots. GuMiho making a wall against the Mauer. Oh, the irony. Trying to separate himself from those dirty Protoss units. I feel like this is actually not optimally controlled. Oh, if you can get a force, that would be massive. I really feel like there is still room for improvement as far as the Banshee control goes. He gets it. Level 3 gets denied. Here they go. Formula 1 Banshees. Dun 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 dun. Banshees. Dun dun. Okay. We go for a Stargate now. I wonder if this is actually the right response. Just bite the bullet, make a Stargate at some point, and make like one Phoenix. Gravitic Drive coming up too. Ooh, okay. Now we're going fleet beacons into a whole load of Skytos. That seems to be the follow-up. In the meantime, Command Center morphing into a planetary fortress at the 12 o'clock position. GuMiho, who's been turtling for quite a while, is going to continue the turtling. He's now making a wall with siege tanks. The age for making a wall with supply depots is over. Now we're making a wall with siege tanks instead. Okay. +2/+2, just about to finish up here for the Gumi God. That would normally be a perfect opportunity for him to go on attack, but this is not a Terran player who's planning on doing any sort of attacking. Maybe. Maybe. But it looks like he's quite cozy here behind his nice little walls. SCV transfer from the main base. Apparently these two skinny mineral fields do not matter. It's a little sad. Observer sees this all the way at the bottom. It's like dogs at the dog park over here. I think that's beautiful. Yeah, they smell kind of funny. Yeah, they smell like oil. Whatever sort of fuel they use to actually stay up in the air. That's never gonna happen. We do finally have a fusion core, by the way, coming up. Oh my god. I think he's sacking the Zealots. Jeez. He's sacking the Zealots in favor of a Mama ship right now and a bunch of high-tier units. So there is a fusion core now. But I would imagine this is not gonna be for battle cruisers, although I still believe... Are we gonna double Expo? Okay. Where are we going? Oh no, we're gonna just wall them off. I see. So we're gonna use the command centers to turtle a little bit more. +1 air coming up here as well for the Terran player. And we should be seeing the ranged up... Oh, okay. Wow, he goes Caduceus Reactor first. Caduceus Reactor and then Advanced Ballistics on the back of this. So the Caduceus Reactor is the upgrade that allows the Medevacs to regen their energy twice as quickly. Usually that is also an upgrade that you get whenever you kind of need it, but I guess he doesn't really see the use in Advanced Ballistics at this point, which is Liberator ranged, because at this point he's maxed out and he can't really make use of any Liberators. He can't make them. Everybody's favorite unit is just about to spawn. Get excited. Oh, even the Banshees show up as a nice little welcoming parade. Mama! There she is. She looks amazing. Yeah, this looks like a -300 to me. Although, how many Vikings are we currently on? We're only at 6 Vikings. It's really not that much. No, this looks like a pretty good Mama ship. Mothership, of course, one of the units that not too long ago got reworked. Rather than 400, 400, it's now 300, 300, and all of its abilities are activated. So cloaking is now an activated ability. Recall, everything else is very, very nice. It no longer has that energy bar either. Yeah, there the cloaking gets activated. So usually what Terrans like to do is go mass Viking at this point in time. The recall ability obviously is also not to be underestimated. I still don't think we've really seen the end of that just yet. Really feel like there's still more to be gained. Nice little bit of movement right here though by ShoWTimE. There we go. That was a lovely storm drop. Gets in the middle of a lot of those biological units. How many starports are we currently at? Just the 2. Oh! Oh, the Banshees! The Banshees from earlier? Dude, the Banshees are... They're like the comedic sidekick of the Terran army here. You know, like in like a classic movie, there's always... They're the freaking sidekick. Amazing. Occasionally they just show up and they look a little funny. They add a little bit into the mix. They may be my favorite character in this show. Another storm? Oh, big storm. Massive storm. Mama does eventually fall. We do have a big warp in here. That's going to make life a little bit better. Did he kill both of the orbital commands in his area, by the way? Well, if it's up to ShoWTimE, it doesn't even matter, because he's planning to end this game right now if he can. I think he did kill both of the orbitals, yeah. He killed a command center, planetary, and then 2 orbital commands. Even though the Terran does hold this in the end, I think that was a good trade. Because Protoss has got a ton of money in the bank. It was expensive, though. Yeah, it was expensive. GuMiho manages to just barely survive. And now he goes double nuke. Really, Gumi. So first order of business, as this man is broke, is to buy 2 tactical nukes. Alright. Yeah. He doesn't have anywhere to live, but at least he's wearing a Rolex, you know? It's an interesting choice. It can certainly work out. Like, maybe the market will turn out favorably, you never know. ShoWTimE remaxing with a lot of ground units. He's got a carrier up in the air. But it's really mostly just stalkers and zealots again. Just like the olden days. The olden days of 10 minutes ago. How many Stormy Boys do we have? 5. And there are disruptors now in the mix as well. So Gumi is actually still making Vikings. That is something that you have to be considerate about, because if you go and make too many Vikings, assuming your opponent is going to remax with Skytools units, obviously that can backfire pretty terribly. Okay. Oh, storm drop over here on the left side. Sorry. Let me just back off for a second. Where did that medevac even come from? So we're dancing over here. It is very far. You can almost not see it on the minimap. That war prism is pressed to the left side of the screen, and then 2 of the High Templars show up. Bada bing, bada boom. And for my next magic trick, I will make the Terran economy disappear. ShoWTimE wants to move in, but I was gonna say, I think that's a little bit dangerous. He's still making air upgrades, by the way, which is kind of cool. So this is +3. Next is coming up on the far right side of the map. SCVs are building. GuMiho trying to rebuild, but he is up with his back against the wall right now. I kind of feel like he's been on the brink of elimination for like 15 minutes now, but GuMiho is still holding on. He's only got 37 SCVs, by the way. So his army is bigger than that of the Protoss. Like, supply-wise, he's actually leading as far as the army size goes. ShoWTimE is now pretty much maxed. How many gateways are we on? 20. Yeah, he's a big fan of making loads of gateways. 20 gateways always seems like a lot to me. Sometimes you see him going up to like 25, 26. The idea being that you can trade and then very quickly overwhelm the Terran player. Ooh, he's even taking one of the bases up north that normally would be considered to be the opponent's, but... Nice. Alright, where's those nukes? Yeah, that's ambitious. We have 2 tactical nukes, but... they're not being used just yet. Looks like the prism on the left did end up going down, or at the very least something got picked off on the left side. Yeah, ShoWTimE knows that he doesn't need to be too aggressive here. Although he is giving an opportunity here for GuMiho to get back up to 200 supply himself as well. The follow-up, by the way, is not carriers, it's more Tempest instead. I always like the Tempest at this stage in the game. I wonder if actually Tempests are a little bit better than carriers until the super late game, but 4 more gateways. 4 additional gateways, and then also a Dark Shrine. So ShoWTimE actually aims for like 24, 25, 26 or so gateways. First time I saw him do it, I thought it was a bit much, but he consistently does it. We're bowling. Hey, bowl's mostly a strike. Yeah, I don't really see an outcome here for GuMiho that is favorable, right? Like, in what way is GuMiho going to win this game? I think his best chance is to just take a landslide victory and then go straight for the kill, because his army is so big. But it'll be tough. I like the Dark Shrine here a lot, because if there is like a last resort defense that ShoWTimE needs to go for, detection is not something actually that GuMiho is that much of. He's got 5 orbital commands. Yeah. Okay. He's got 5 orbitals. I guess it's fine, but Dark Templar are still quite powerful. I mean, another way, I guess, in which GuMiho could win is if the Protoss trades too cost inefficiently. There's so many Vikings, though, that just do so little. Yeah. Darren's got 16 Vikings up in the air. I wonder if ShoWTimE should have actually just not made any of those Tempest and Carriers at all. Maybe after the next fight. Okay, you can always go for a counterattack too. Like a full base trade? I don't think it's something that Protoss would really like. GuMiho, though, yeah, on the flip side is looking for that, so he finds an opportunity. The base on the left side of the maps, or the bases rather, on the left side of the map, they will end up going down, but at the same time, a lot of damage is being dealt inside of the main base, for example, going after these structures with the Vikings. Super nice play here by GuMiho. ShoWTimE can have a stupid amount of money in the bank, but if he can't spend it, well, life is still going to be pretty good here for the Terran. So ShoWTimE will have to remake some of his gateways. I mean, he's got so much infrastructure, though. He still has 17 gates at this point in time, but a lot of his stuff is already being unpowered. The win condition in a game of StarCraft 2, ultimately, is to kill the structures. The armies are irrelevant, but basically the entire structures tab over here needs to be brought down to 0. Not really a reliable win condition just yet, but it is something we might see over the course of the next few minutes. GuMiho has been brought all the way down to 0 minerals, though. He's got basically no income, but he's got a massive army. 160 something army supply versus only 120 from the opponent. ShoWTimE now rebuilding some of his economy in the bottom. Some of his infrastructure, rather, in the bottom. More gateways, a new cyber core. There's a lot of storm available, so 15 high Templar. I got to cast a long drawn-out game of TVP not too long ago on Site Delta. I'm forgetting the player names right now, but in that particular match, the Protoss never really went for a whole lot of high Templar, and it was sort of bothering me a little. In the final engagements, there were like 2, which is just not enough. ShoWTimE, though, going for what I probably would consider to be the opposite. He's got 15 high Templar. That's a lot of Templar. And they're all high as well. Like, how many high Templar do you really want to have working for you, you know? Like, at some point, they're just gonna eat all your food. They're gonna show up late to work. They're just gonna relax and have a good time. Okay, let's see. I don't think GuMiho knows about this base at the top. Oh no, he has seen it. He must have scanned for it. He just has no way of getting there. ShoWTimE is rebuilding his pylons. Well, the weather forecast is stormy. GuMiho better get ready for it, because he has no opportunity to make anything. He can park out here, but it's his move right now. The clock is ticking here, GuMiho. It's basically a turn-based strategy game right now. We're basically playing chess. It's GuMiho's turn to play, but he's not doing anything. The clock is ticking down, however. ShoWTimE is thinking, okay, well, if you're not doing anything, I guess I'll send a little bit more. ShoWTimE ready to try and see if he can... Ooh, okay. Going after a couple of these High Templar is actually pretty sweet. Yeah, those High Templar are completely out of energy right now. They were having the munchies. They were hiding in the corner. That's okay. Well, guys. It's been good knowing you all. Yeah, so GuMiho will be able to get rid of this base. I still see a way though. I still see a way for GuMiho to potentially win this, because his army is ultimately a match for that of the Protoss right now. Terran can obviously hide structures in the corners of the map as well. So, I mean, you know, you can drag this game out for quite a while. None of the Protoss structures fly. Technically the Stargate does, at least in the lore, but these are very low to the ground type of Stargates. Terran currently losing their entire main base, it seems. There is one orbital command. The orbital command can be used for scans, but it needs to land. Do we still have a Dark Shrine? No, there is no Dark Shrine. A Dark Templar transition right now would actually be absolutely killer. But the Dark Shrine that we saw earlier has gone down. And I don't know if ShoWTimE at this point realizes that Dark Templar would actually seal this deal. Oh, some big storms. Double storming even. Getting a little over-eager. You can see that the heat is on. Yeah, he should really actually try to tech up back to Dark Templar. If he's given this much time, I think that is the logical play. GuMiho is going to park his army units together with the structures. So he's going to bring them together, meaning that ShoWTimE, in order to hunt this all down, needs to move. Or at the very least, that is the story that GuMiho wants to tell. Siege tanks from the high ground trying to get rid of this. That fourth base that was previously mined by the Terran now has a Nexus building close to it. And even though there's not really that many probes remaining, they will have another spot for them to mine. One Zealot. Two in the main base. Yeah, there's no Raven anymore. GuMiho has one worker. One SCV and a Dream. Mules are obviously still capable of bringing back some of that money. And remember those mineral fields that he dragged his units away from some time ago? Honestly, that... he could land his command center in the main base and mine a little bit more if he wants to again. Okay, this is actually a nail-biter of a game still. ShoWTimE should have this one in the bag. The problem is he doesn't know exactly the position of the Terran. And you can see how these barracks are actually blocking the vision quite a bit too. So he's trying his best to EMP and check out what actually the size of the Protoss or of the Terran army is. But he doesn't know exactly how large this Terran force truly is. Those Tempests now being able to shoot at their maximum range. Very handy. We have one hero SCV trying to work on a gateway in the top right hand corner. It's an ambitious play for that SCV, but he's gonna get there eventually. A couple damage points at a time. Yeah, he could have already been at Dark Templar at this point. I think Dark Templar would have been amazing. Storm? Oh, big storm, big storm. Okay, not as big as I thought it was gonna be. That is what she said as well. As we do move in right now, can we maybe send the disruptors around the site? I don't even think we need it. Nah, storms will just simply complete the story with all of the Archons and Zealots and Stalkers in the front. It's ShoWTimE who wins game number 2. Game number 3. We find ourselves on site Delta. This time around, no focus onto a Reaper first. No scouting here by GuMiho. GuMiho? I want to say GuMiho and GuMigod at the same time. GuMiho. No scouting here whatsoever, going straight into a reactor, command center on the low ground. Even though he lost that last game, GuMiho, he does not feel like he really needs to make any changes whatsoever. Fair enough. ShoWTimE in the meantime on the other side of the map, this time around opening up with a Stargate. So he's been going for a Twilight Council in game number 1 and 2. Focusing on Blink first. This time around he is also opening up completely scoutless. So both players are basically, yeah, in a bit of a gentleman's agreement where you're not cheesing me, I'm not cheesing you. This is like the StarCraft 2 equivalent of Command & Conquer's like 10-minute no rush strategy. We're going even for a Phoenix first too, so basically neither player has anything to defend anything. No rush 10 minutes. Although in StarCraft 2 terms, it'll be closer to like no rush 4 minutes or so. Maybe 5 minutes. Let's see how long we can do the no rush for. Yeah. I remember in the early days of StarCraft 2, players tried making that a thing as well in this game. Where they didn't really like playing the early game very much, so they wanted to try and implement no rush rules. Which is insane. Like the entire game. Like Zerg would win any match, okay? If it, like even Terran versus Protoss would be won by a Zerg if there was 10 minutes no rush. They'd be sitting at 100 drones and maxed out supply. Anyways, this is a little bit of scouting. Doesn't count as rushing, okay? No, it does not count as rushing. GuMiho is going across the map right now. This is mostly also scouting. This is phase scouting, where you scout with your entire army. Since it's a Phoenix opener, yeah, he realizes that there might be something slipping away from the Terran. This time around, what's slipping is a medevac with 3 mines. Honestly, really good defense right here. Don't lose the Phoenix. Nicely done. Really nice damage here by ShoWTimE. Oh, hello. Ooh, that was awkward. So it is quick Phoenixes into Twilight Council, by the way. So he did only go for a single Phoenix, now into Blinky Boys. Oh my god, okay. You can tell here that GuMi also did not expect it. So 4 minutes no rush is basically what it came down to. Shield battery coming up. This is a committed attack right now, but GuMiho, he may have just locked the Protoss outside of their own natural expansion. Some really lovely positioning. ShoWTimE forced to recall the Stalkers now to the natural. Huh. Now the Widow Mines have turned to the other side, and the bio units are gonna try and move towards the third. That is some cute play right here. Probes are pulled as targets, but a couple Marines were pulled to the side as well to try, oh, okay, and help and slow this down. ShoWTimE really does not want to lose that third Nexus. GuMiho likewise though, oh, he's retargeting. Look at GuMi retargeting, trying to buy time, and he might just be able to get this Nexus because of it. Oh. Lovely sequence of events right there by the South Korean Terran. I mean, it's still expensive, and I'm a little bit concerned for the Protoss counterattack. But that was a really cute play right there by GuMiho. How many gateways are we on? It's only 3. It's an instant restart on another third base, going into the charge research as well. Did he cancel that Nexus? No, it was actually a full-on kill. Yeah. Obviously, actually. The Nexus was done for quite a while. It was an early Nexus, too. Curious play right there as well, though, from GuMiho, when you think about it, right? Because how many strategies is he gonna run into where that particular attack would not have worked out nearly as well? It is quite a dangerous option. He wants to blink into the main base right now and get the stim pack. That green light is on, and when the green light is on, somebody's home. ShoWTimE is a door-to-door salesman. He sells stalkers. It's an interesting profession, but he needs to make... Ooh, ShoWTimE immediately goes into 4 bases, actually. Huh. So now we're metagaming, right? So both of these players opening up scoutless, both of these players going for build orders and trying to counter each other hard. ShoWTimE only making a single Phoenix, going into Blink. And his third base ends up dying by a strange attack from GuMiho, and he double expands behind it. So these are games that are played within games, right? This wouldn't really be played as part of match number 1 in a best of 5 series. This is an advanced strategy that would never work on the ladder. It would not be good in a best of 1. But in the series that we are watching here, both players are trying to make as much sense as they can. Sometimes when you try to make this much sense, though, you kind of end up looking dumb. Because very standard attacks are actually quite vulnerable to builds like this from both players. Luckily, for both of them, that's not the case. Third command center is going to be secured. So ShoWTimE losing the third nexus and then immediately double expanding behind it. It's a little risky, but he assumed here that GuMiho was going to try and make a third command center on the back of this and just slowly take it. Because GuMiho lost like, what, 15 Marines? And 50 Marines down the drain means that GuMiho will not really be able to go for any big attacks. Like, maybe he can go for a medevac drop, but that's really about it. So ShoWTimE immediate double expansion behind that is really... Yeah, it's a little risky. But I don't think there's really a whole lot GuMiho could have done against it. Charge at this point is done. Siege tanks are on siege, and you know what? Nice save right there with the medevacs. But he does not have enough room to save all of them. We're just gonna blink in and charge forward. I honestly think this is game. ShoWTimE was not prepared to win the match right here, right now, but he was given an opportunity on a silver platter. He's like, nah, don't mind if I do. Let me take all your siege tanks and all your army units and kill some SCVs in the process. GG. Ghost River is the 4th map in this best of 5 series. Scoutless opener once again by the GuMiGod, but he's decided to not go straight into a reactor, but build a single marine ahead of time. And I would walk 100 miles an hour. This guy's looking for proxy gates. Any sort of aggression, hiding on the right side of the map, for example. A little surprised he's not checking a little bit further out, but then again, what are the odds of ShoWTimE really proxying a Stargate or something like that? ShoWTimE going for the Adept first. Straight into the Twilight Council. Ghost River, of course, the smallest map in the current map pool. Basically the 2024 edition of Steps of War. Except it's actually decent. Steps of War was actually pretty terrible. Yeah. Alright. Got the Marine. Got the Adept out. Main base, expand right here for Gumi. So he did make another command center. And he's following us up with a pretty quick starport. Match point, of course, right here for ShoWTimE, who now gets to do... yeah, a little bit of something, whatever, right? Like, he can do whatever he likes. I wouldn't mind seeing, like, a quick third nexus off of 2 gateways, for example. He's not doing that. He's already going up to 3. I wouldn't mind seeing a 4 gateway all-in. Yeah, maybe that's what we're gonna go for here. It's a powerful play. Obviously, strategies that hit really hard based off of upgrades finishing up, right? So say, like a timing attack with, for example, Blink Stalkers. It would hit extra hard if the opponent, well, is closer by. If the rush distance across the map is a little bit quicker. You can hit your opponent in the face a few seconds earlier too, and sometimes that's really the only difference that you need. Then again though, this is a quick 1-1-1 right here for Gumi. Quick double gas, meaning that his siege tank production is already well underway. So he should be okay against those sorts of attacks, and considering ShoWTimE has got a shield battery over here, he will not be going for a very aggressive push. There's a Robo. And the start Gas Geyser. We'll probably see a Nexus here momentarily. This is a siege tank attack though. Yeah. He's trying to figure this out. Kind of a scary push coming across the map. ShoWTimE trying to see with the Adepts what he should expect. Oh, he just barely doesn't see it. Okay. GuMiho is gonna try and go for a big attack, yeah. So ShoWTimE thinks that the sites here are clear. If he builds an... oh, that's the worst possible timing for a Nexus. He's been scanning, he's been scouting, but GuMiho has been duking and jiving all over the map. Brings everything he's got across right now. Those siege tanks are gonna hit hard. Aggressive blink forward as well to try and take them out as quickly as possible. And it looks like eventually... oh, what? Oh my god, he's move commanding. Okay, well, that's game. GG. And that means that it will all come down to this. Our final game in this best of 5 series, we find ourselves on Crimson Court. GuMiho, who has spawned in the top right-hand corner of the map, decides to go for a cheeky little barracks. Very close to that side of the Protoss. ShoWTimE with a little bit of miscontrol. Yeah, found himself in an uncomfortable situation there. He move commanded for just a second. Probably tried to right-click the siege tank, but he must have just, I don't know, been a pixel or two off, and that can be game. Should be just a Reaper or two. We'll have to see how much aggression GuMiho really wants to go for here. There's obviously quite a bit of variety as far as the aggression goes, but most of the time it really is relatively minor. ShoWTimE does not see it right now. He could opt to go for a Zealot as well if he really is feeling threatened. But nah, he's gonna just save this for now and just go straight into it. Probably be a Stalker or even an Adept here in just a moment. He's looking around on the Terran side of the map trying to see if there's maybe a barracks hiding over here. Not the case. Stalker indeed is gonna be chronoed, and that means that for about maybe 10-15 seconds, this Reaper is gonna have free control of the main base. So the probe micro has to be on point. It's very much so up to the Protoss player here to lose workers. Like 2 or 3 is okay. Any more than that, ooh, you almost got the surround. Any more than that and life becomes a bit tricky. And losing the Reaper actually kind of sucks. Yeah, that Reaper's dead. Second Reaper was produced. I think 2 probes for a proxy Reaper like this is not quite enough. There's finally the tech of choice here for ShoWTimE, who will be going into the Blinky Boys once again, it looks like. Blinky Boys! Sorry, this is one of the best StarCraft 2 tunes in the background right now. Can't believe I'm ruining it for you. It's so nice. Maybe not quite as iconic as the original StarCraft 1 music for the Terran, but this is still a bit of a banger. Actually, with all the Blizzard games, you can criticize Blizzard for many things, but I feel like their music department has always been ridiculously good, unmatched. Same for their cinematics, still top tier. Anyways, one little probe goes down. Cyclone obviously quite expensive. And as soon as Blink is done, a lot of these early game pushes are defendable, right? Even though in theory they are defendable, that's not always necessarily the case, like we saw just now on Ghost River. One little mistake can just be the end of everything, but it looks like life is alright. NG Bay building behind the mineral line. Sentry coming up as well, together with a robo facility. Okay, so once again, a very defensive posture right here for ShoWTimE. Does that mean GuMiho has an opportunity to go across the map? He's brought a couple Widow Mines. Yeah. I feel like Widow Mines into mineral lines at this level don't really work nearly as well anymore. Terrans are always trying, though. Probes are being sacked. Yeah, he's retargeting. He's retargeting just to buy a couple additional seconds of lost mining time. We'll probably do the same thing over here if possible. Yep. You can manually retarget with Widow Mines like that. Oh, this one actually still lives, but not for much longer. Cyclone and the Reaper may want to get picked up, and maybe they can try and go into the main base, but now things are becoming quite risky though, because he knows obviously that Blink is done. And losing another set of units like that, basically uncontested, right? Maybe getting a worker or two, it would be quite dangerous, but then again, what exactly is the Cyclone together with the Reaper going to achieve later on? So maybe they can function as like a distraction a little bit later on into the game. Say ShoWTimE goes across the map, he's gonna drop them off, you don't really have to micro them too much, but at the very least it's gonna give the Protoss another ball to juggle. SCV going around, trying to see if there's any Protoss army at the front door ready to push. Not the case, instead ShoWTimE is going for a Nexus here on the left side of the map. Mining out those skinny little mineral fields to try and go into that nexus a little bit quicker. That part of the map is currently inaccessible other than by air units for Gumi. So he would have to either mine out the mineral fields or destroy the rocks. Loads of options to get there, but currently he does not have an easy way. +1 infantry weapons together with Stimpeg. Finishing up. We don't have combat shields yet, because we are only on a single barracks here for the majority of this. So he does have more barracks now, but only a single one with tech labs. So that means he's got a good amount of units. But I don't think he can really do much with this army, can he? Like, maybe. I mean, again, siege tanks have already been more effective in this game than, or in the series, than they really should have been. Charge is just about to finish up, which is a really lovely upgrade against these attacks. Okay. Shield battery is actually unpowered. Protoss should have more production than the Terran here. That's a lot of siege tanks, though. You know what? Those rocks may actually just be helping out GuMiho here quite a bit. Not an easy setup for a flank for ShoWTimE. He'll probably just have to shove through the front, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Pushes in. Immortal gets retargeted over there together with a couple of zealots, while the other half of the zealots here is being microed against those marines. Okay. For the most part, a trade as far as the armies go, which should work out favorably here for ShoWTimE in the end, assuming that he can still get the rest of this army off of his back. GuMiho now a little bit more adventurous with the siege tanks that are coming across. There's obviously still Blink, there's still more Charge. No more Immortal available. Another one is currently building, but he believes he doesn't really need it. Siege tanks are gonna get cleaned up. Okay, and that is the hold that he was looking for. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, GuMiho is going into a third command center, but it is a very long time behind the third nexus of ShoWTimE. He has been building additional SCVs here for some time already. So he is about ready to just immediately transfer a bunch of them to the third base, but this is still about another minute or so away from actually landing over at the third. That means that ShoWTimE should currently have a little bit of an income advantage. He doesn't really have that many workers. He halted the production of that for quite a while, so GuMiho must realize that right now. Honestly, any kill he can get would be really sweet. Doesn't decide to dive too deep into the main base. Going for the mineral line would have been nice, but losing 2 medevacs in the process would probably be the end of the game. Storm on the back of this right now for ShoWTimE. Pylon over here. He's thinking about already building a 4th nexus. That does seem a little dangerous to me. Third command center is going to be flying forward, and this will be scouted immediately by ShoWTimE. Important scout for him, though, realizing that Terran is indeed going for a third base in that direction. It can be very helpful. Prism, ready to go into the main base. The newly made barracks are now growing their own little add-ons here, but the main base is completely undefended at the moment. Terran is ready to make another big push through the center of the map. Storm is not yet done. Okay. These zealots are going to be very annoying, but how much damage can GuMiho deal on this side of the map right now? He does not know about Storm, but that's still maybe 20 seconds or so away. He does see the Templar here in the end. There's just not enough Stalkers at the moment. Zealots are trying their very best. Reinforcing Terran units are cleaning them up slowly but surely. Storm is completed now, though. And there we go, big Storm. Every Stimpeg is quite costly because the medevacs are mostly without energy. And these Zealots are worth their weight in gold. If it wasn't for these Zealots, I think actually this would have been incredibly difficult for GuMiho, well, to lose the game with, right? Because he's done a lot of damage, but now suddenly this push has been slowed down enough. Storm finished up. Okay, and ShoWTimE once again holds. Is that Prism still around? I think that's the same Prism. Prism is now holding a more precious cargo. Couple of High Templar once again. Bunch of Zealots that smoke weed, I guess. Just relax, bro. Just chill in the... Yeah, they have a private jet. No big deal. +2/+2 started up here for Gumi. Still a while away from finishing up. Base in the top left-hand corner, not yet scouted by GuMiho. But he knows that that will likely be here in just a moment. Yeah, he scans it right now. Gonna retarget some of these units. That does mean that the Stalkers might just be able to get underneath relatively easily. Being able to use your blink defensively against these is really, really sweet. He doesn't even need it. War Prism still threatening. ShoWTimE's minimap vision here is really nice. Yeah. GuMiho is wondering how did he position that army perfectly. So he scans in the middle of the map as he finds that observer. Observer gets replaced by a Widow Mine. Retargeting right there. Onto the Stalker right next to that sentry. Lovely work by Gumi. Storms, though, could be game ending. I don't think those storms were good. I mean, they were decent, but not amazing. That was the end of that splash damage. Might the Protoss army just be too big, though? Third base of the Terran is being overwhelmed. Immortal, nice sidestepping right there by the German Protoss. Terran reinforcements, though, are showing up from the main base. And ultimately, Marine Marauder Medevac is, of course, a great combination of units. GuMiho manages to stabilize, but he does lose 15 SCVs in the process. There is a Liberator over here hiding underneath the canopy, but it will get sniped, and the probes can continue mining for a little while longer. One thing that ShoWTimE has not been quite on point with is the upgrade timing, so he's only just now firing up the +2 for the ground units. Whereas in the meantime, on the other side, GuMiho is finishing up 2-2. He already has +2 infantry attacks. If there is a way back in this game for Gumi, I think that's it. Like, the 2-2 is incredibly strong. He's gonna have a massive advantage for the next couple of minutes. Storm, though? Storm does not care about upgrades. Oh my god. Good Storms here, but in a straight-up fight, the Marine Marauder Medevac is, yeah, substantially more powerful now. I think basically just Zealots and High Templar is the only way for ShoWTimE. Maybe an Immortal or two. Try and finish off some of those Marauders, but GuMiho is looking for a kill on a base. He needs to get it done quickly. There's another Storm. Yeah, those units were so low that they couldn't even stim anymore. Pick up control, of course, with the Prism. Also, certainly a viable option. Nicely done. Perfect pickup right there by ShoWTimE. But you can really tell here that the strength of upgrades is heavily in favor of Gumi. GuMiho can't quite afford the +3 research. We'll have to see if that's something he can maybe pick up in a moment, but I think he wants to try and see if he can seal the deal on this 4th base. Oh, beautiful battles. Lovely pickup control from both players. A single Archon shows up, but it basically has no shields. Yeah, it does end up getting sniped pretty much immediately. Zealots once again warped in. Good control as well by GuMiho, trying to make sure that those units don't charge at the Marines, but charge at the Marauders instead. Medevacs are slowly replenishing their energy, but whatever probes can fit inside of the Prism, sorry to these two lads, they get evacuated away from the 4th base in the direction of the 3rd. And since this 3rd base was taken a long time ago, ShoWTimE is actually running out of cash here. Now suddenly, GuMiho's army is looking dangerous. We're talking pretty much triple the amount of army supply here. His economy may still not be that great, but those upgrades are really carrying him. There is one shield battery over here, a second one just about to finish up, but I think in a straight-up engagement, yeah, the Protoss units just don't fight nearly as well as these Marines and Marauders do. The ranged of those Marauders in particular really making it difficult for ShoWTimE to get it done, and there it is. GuMiho playing a wonderful game. I don't think, when you think of Terran players that are really good at micro, I don't think the name GuMiho really pops up all too much, right? Like, he's strategically, I would probably say, the Terran player to look for if you like wild stuff. But I don't think a lot of people would consider him to be an absolute micro god. That title will probably go to players like, for example, Bjorn, maybe Clem, right? Maru micro is also really significant, but GuMiho is showing us that he is certainly not somebody to underestimate.